The other team's quarterback must go down, and he must go down hard.
As I usually do, I do 2 keys to the game. I do grades on those keys, and then I do an overall grade for each side of the ball. So we're first starting on the defensive side, as we normally do. My first key to the game was slowing down this guy right here, Joe Mixon. And my goal was to keep him under 100 yards rushing, 130 yards all-purpose. As I talked about in my preview, they started using him in the passing game more. He usually was not that utilized, but as of late, he has been. And to keep him under 2 touchdowns. Now, he only got 48 yards rushing, and they tried to use him early, and then they kind of went to the passing game. You can see he had 17 carries. That's under 3 yards per carry. Very well. 76 all-purpose yards. He had 1 decent reception, I believe, late in the first quarter. But other than that, very quiet. I'm going to have to give this an A. Just to stop Joe Mixon. Good job overall with the... I can't really say a whole lot with that. Of course, this is a dynamic offense, not just Joe Mixon, but Burrow in the passing game. So, of course, we're going to have to get to that in the second key to the game. And that was getting pressure onto Joe Burrow. And I put this on the defensive line. Now, I talked about in the preview about how Cleveland stopped him, how the Chargers stopped them and got wins. I was looking for 4 sacks, 10 quarterback hits, and 2 turnovers. And we only got 2 sacks. We got 5 quarterback hits and no turnovers. So I'm going to have to give this one a C. We did get pressure on him. I think it was probably adequate enough just for this key to the game to win. But especially when we turn the ball over early in the first quarter. We'll get to the offense once we get to the offensive side of the ball. But I felt, and I talked about it in my halftime report, that it was imperative that we got a turnover in the second half. That didn't really happen. So I'm going to give the overall grade to the defense a B-. Now, that might be a little bit harsh in some ways. Other ways, no. They only got 308 total yards, Cincinnati did. They only had 244 yards passing. Now, keep in mind, Joe Burrow, his last 2 games that they played with all the stars, like I said, I'm not counting the last game against Cleveland. The 2 games before that against Baltimore and Kansas City when they won the division, he had nearly 500 yards a game. So we cut that in half. So that's that. I would say that's an outstanding job overall. We're 5 of 12 on third down conversions. Now we're 2 of 5 in red zone. You know, some of the critics on the defensive side will say, well, they drove down and they got points 4 of the first 5 drives. And my answer to that is, well, the offense gave Cincinnati the ball on the 15-yard line. And they only ended up with 3 points. Number 2, when Barber stepped out of bounds on the kickoff like an idiot, they went 3 and out. We punted the ball. They ended up basically giving them the ball on our 45. They only got 3 points off of. So not only that, second half, they only got 6 points. This high-powered offense only got 6 points. And they were only in the red zone one time all the second half. So not only that, you could argue both touchdowns. If you looked at the first one with Uzoma, by the rules of the NFL, you know, where you have to take 2 steps, a motion, order a pizza. He had his both feet down. He was kind of turning, but as he was going down, it was starting to get loose. And it actually came loose fully. I think I have a problem with my headset. Unfortunately, it looks like it's back to the normal. So I'm going to keep talking here. I see my equalizer being normal. I'm going to try not to move around. I think I have a little bit of short in one of my wires I found. So fortunately, let's move on with this. So this is the play I've got a question with. And this is not so much on Carr. He got blindsided, strip sack. I get that. But why the hell do we have Foster Moreau blocking their best pass rusher? Makes no sense. The blocking scheme was screwed from the beginning. Here's Colton Miller on Ogunjobi, who's a defensive tackle. We'll get to Ogunjobi in a minute, but you know, Miller should have been on Hendrickson the entire time. Blocking scheme's bad. You're not going to be able to block him with a tight end. Blindside, fumble at the 15-yard line. Absolutely ridiculous. I got to give it for that. And, you know, I can see why Greg Olsen would be fired at this point. A lot of sputtering by the offense. And let's get to my second key. A little bit more optimistic here. That's Josh Jacobs. Now, my goal was I wanted him to see 100 yards passing or 100 yards rushing, 130 combined with receiving. I wanted to see at least 7 rushing first downs. What we actually got was 13 carries for 83 yards. We didn't get any touchdowns, but we got 127 all-purpose yards from Jacobs and 5 rushing first downs. That includes the one by Carr. And I'm going to give this one a B+. A couple reasons. Not for Jacobs alone. I give Jacobs an A effort. Him all on his own. I got to give it at least a B+. Maybe even go B- just for the offensive line. A couple big runs of his were called back for holding. And you saw the replay. You didn't really even need to hold there. He would have gotten through there anyway. Even if you lost a couple yards overall, it slowed him down a little bit. That's better than going back another 10. Absolutely ridiculous. And then I got to go to Greg Olsen. The game was still close, and we went away from the running game and controlling it. And I could see the very last drive because we needed a touchdown, 2-minute drill. I get that. But the couple drives before that, should have ran the ball. We didn't run the ball at all the drive before that at all. So I think I probably could have went a little bit lower, but a great job by Josh Jacobs overall. But I got to give the offense a C-. I might even be able to go lower than that. Carr was over 300 yards. We were 385 total yards. We had 23 first downs, which is okay. It's not great. It's okay. Again, but we're only 1 of 5 red zone opportunities, and those hurt. Those sting. It all goes back here to this offensive line, and here's one of the plays here. This wasn't run by Jacobs. This was a reception here that got called back by Deshaun Jackson. And you can see here, Alex Leatherwood, our 17th overall pick, basically bear hugging a guy. One, he didn't need to. He had plenty of room. He could have just got inside. There was plenty of time. 2, this guy is named B.J. Hall, and not to be confused with P.J. Hall, the guy who used to be on the Raiders. I came from the Giants. He's a backup defensive tackle to Ogunjobi, who got hurt in the game. He'll be out the rest of the year, unfortunately, for Cincinnati. But this is a backup DT. He's got to hug this guy. And this goes back to Mayock. You know, they touted him as the best tackle in the draft. Obviously, now he can't even play guard. And this is the woes here. Him and Parker. Parker had some problems. I didn't even talk about Parker's issues here.
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.